The Berlin summit is just a couple of weeks away, and this week Tirana hosted a meeting of 20 EU and regional economy ministers. They came together to discuss business, economics, EU initiatives and funding, as well as the way forward in terms of cooperation. I'm joined today by Endrit Uzairai, Deputy Minister of Finance, to find out a bit more about what went on. Endrit, this week Tirana hosted a conference of 20 EU and regional economy ministers. From what I understand from the conclusions, it's quite technical. So I was wondering, can you give me a sort of bite-sized overview of what came out of the meeting?
Essentially, the meeting with the ministers was a discussion to see where we are with the intra-regional cooperation to begin with, and how we can improve the cooperation of the entire region with the the European Union. There is one additional element in all of this. All of the countries are negotiating their integration into the European Union. Now, the Commission has pushed for something which is called the accelerated integration. What this essentially means is that the Western Balkan countries can become part of various EU initiatives or EU bodies without being full members of the European Union. So the context that we were discussing 2 days ago, or what was it, 4 days ago, was exactly how we can benefit as a region from these European Union bodies. The vision, and what I would like the listeners to try to think and visualize, is the idea of a truck of goods which leaves the port of Trieste in northeastern Italy, and has to travel across the Balkans to go maybe to Patras to make the final deliveries in Patras in Greece, in Varna in Bulgaria, or maybe all the way to Istanbul, but we'll have to make a number of deliveries across the Balkans. We want this process to be as seamless as possible. We want that truck to enter the Balkans region without any delays at customs, obtain all possible certifications almost seamlessly, and travel as soon as possible to go to all the other corners of the Balkans. In order for this to happen, a number of technical issues have to be resolved. These are issues that have to do with licensing for goods. So any license that is provided by any country in the Western Balkans first has to be recognized by other Western Balkan countries, but it also has to be recognized by the European Union countries.
There was one statistic that really jumped out at me, and that was that there are 6,000 Albanian businesses which have already met the criteria to operate within the EU. And what I wanted to understand from you is, what are the main sectors that these businesses are in? What are the sort of conditions and criteria referred to? And what are the short and long-term targets in terms of increasing this number?
So the sectors are different across the Western Balkans. As you already know, for example, Albania is quite good at exporting already a number of manufactured products in the textile industry, for example, in the European Union. We need to improve our exports of food products. We need to obtain a number of licenses and a number of certifications that would allow us to export a lot more to the European Union. This is the Albanian case. Other countries vary. Other countries might have a different issue. Most importantly, we also need to improve a lot of our certifications for various services that we offer. We have a number of services that people or European citizens already come to enjoy in Albania. For example, dentistry is quite famous.
Hair transplants, I see lots of people in block.
Exactly, all of those issues, for example, all right, that as you already know. But we can also, instead of having Europeans come and obtain these services in Albania, which is, of course, quite positive, we might want European professional or Western Balkans professionals to provide these services in the European Union. Mm-hmm. In order for them to do that, they need to obtain a number of certificates and licenses varying on their own profession. And as you said, there are 6,000 businesses now that are already ready to operate. Most of these businesses are called authorized economic operators. So these are businesses that are already certified to export a number of products. We, of course, would want, as a region, to improve this number.
I read yesterday that the governor of the Bank of Albania said that Albania should be a part of the single euro payments area. I think he said it could save the economy around 14 million a year. And I also saw that there was something along these lines mentioned within the ministerial meeting. They called for the integration of payment systems of the central banks of the region into the European one.
That was actually one of the main topics that we discussed at the meeting. The third session of the ministerial meeting was entirely devoted to financial market-related issues. And this is one of the areas where we can benefit from the accelerated integration process that the European Union is providing and opening the doors for the Western Balkans countries. We as a region want to become part of this, even before we become fully integrated in the European Union. The benefits, I think, go without saying, right? People and businesses can transfer money and complete payments immediately all over the single market.
And for less money as well, less cost.
Exactly. There are two main sort of technical difficulties that we need to overcome in order for the region to become fully compliant. First of all, the central banks of the entire region need to develop this infrastructure. It's something called the TIPS infrastructure. So all of the central banks have to develop this infrastructure to begin with. They have to connect it to each other, first of all. So they have to create a instantaneous payment area within the Western Balkans in order to show that the systems are fully operational. And then once we have done that, we can also join as a region the single European payment area. We hope to be able to complete this process in the next couple of years, even before joining the European Union.
That was going to be my next question. It's underway, but it's on the agenda, but you're sort of relying on other people in the region as well. The other question I wanted to ask you is, we're talking about trade and facilitating more fluid cross-border trade, etc. So who does Albania see as its most important trading partners in the region? And then on the flip side, which, in your view, require more work to realize their full potential?
For us, it's of course important to improve all of the trade relations that we have with the Western Balkan countries, but we of course have a number of important European Union countries that we need to not only keep the trade relations that we have, but we need to improve them. Italy, of course, being first and foremost. Germany, which is the main sponsor of the Berlin process. We have had an increasingly high interest from French companies who want to come and operate in the region. They came with a very large business delegation. So to us, the idea of the ministerial meeting is not only to improve trade relations within the Western Balkans, where we already operate a very open trade policy, but how we can obtain all of the possible certifications and licenses in order to access the single European market. The true goal of all of this process.
Andrew, thank you very much. I don't envy you. You definitely have your work cut out over the next few years, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for the invitation. There is a lot of work to be done, but it's actually beautiful work that I look forward to doing with the entire staff in Albania that is working with it. And I hope we can provide benefits to the Albanian consumers and Albanian businesses as soon as possible.